Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 26 of Peaked in College. So we're cruising along. I don't think it was as long in between episodes as it usually is. Well, I don't
This
think it
might
was
be a
two
new
months,
record.
right? This might be a new
Yeah.
record. So I don't know. Don't get used to it, people. But we'll try to be more frequent here. We figured out that the mornings work, so we're recording first thing in the morning. Had to just wake up, splash a little water on my face, so a little bit groggy. The gears aren't churning like they normally are, so it's gonna take a little while to get warmed up, I think.
Now instead of having us a couple beers deep, you'll have us just jacked up on caffeine, chugging coffee.
Yeah, see, now I can't drink beers before because I have to go to work later. So that's kind of a bummer. That was part of my highlight of my night was just cracking a couple beers and drinking some cold ones with you.
Yeah, it's maybe not quite as relaxing, but it's if it gets the content out, it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm not a coffee guy. You're a coffee guy, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm a pretty big coffee guy. I'm not a snob though. I'm a snob about some things. I'll take any coffee, just
You're
just
just
black
a
coffee.
black coffee guy.
Yeah. And I do
Yeah.
like fresh coffee from a nice coffee shop, or I like espresso and I'd like to get into that more, but I'm not picky because I know I need the caffeine, so I'll take what I can get.
Do you just ride with like a Keurig? You don't have like a fancy like Nespresso or anything like that?
I have just a normal coffee pot. That's what I do most days, and then I have an espresso. So that's like the Keurig espresso kind of thing. I use that every once in a while, especially afternoons when I like don't want a full, cup of coffee. And then I also have like a pour over that I make when on the weekends when I have time to make a nice cup of Joe.
What's a pour over? What's that?
So like a normal like coffee machine, just like pumps water through like a filter.
Uh-huh.
Um, a pour over, you just like the the size of the coffee bean that you grind, and then you pour like you heat up water yourself and then pour it over. And so like it's a slower process. And like you pour it over and you like just do like a first pour. I think it's called like the bloom. You let it like interact with oxygen and water, and it comes out better basically, but it's like a more of a craft process that takes a while.
So rank them. Rank three of your types of coffee. How does it rank?
Pour over is
Nespresso,
number one, but I mean it takes the
pour over
most
black.
time. Or if you go to a coffee shop, it's expensive. So like I wouldn't ever go buy that. But yeah, if I'm like it's a Sunday morning, I've got all the time in the world, I'd make myself a pour over. That's by far the top option. Then I'd say I like probably like I don't have an espresso machine, but that's probably my second favorite because like good espresso is really good. And then probably third is just a cup of Joe.
Can't you make espressos with an espresso machine?
Yeah, but it's kind of the same kind of thing where like yeah, you're making it, but like it's not like you're not adjusting all the settings, so it's not as like craft and like and because you're buying pods, it's not as fresh. I think freshness is like the main thing that
Okay.
like that those grounds have like been in those pods for a long time. It's still really good and it's fun for making cocktails. Is what I really like it for. Or
You can make cocktails in those things?
yeah, like well if you do no like an espresso martini. Like I love coffee alcoholic
Oh,
drinks.
I thought you could make like actual cocktails because Jackie
No.
has one, and I was like, damn, I've been missing out for like the past year and a half when she's had that thing. I thought I gotta be getting drunk off her an espresso, but I guess not. I
No.
don't want an espresso martini. So you say you're not a snob, but you have like five different ways to make
Yeah,
coffee.
like I like coffee, but I'm not gonna like if you're just like, hey, I like a black cup of coffee, I'm gonna be like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
What's your go-to? Are you like a chai tea latte kind of boy?
No, no. I used to drink like hot tea for a little bit. I was on a hot tea train. I've definitely weaned off of that. I think I'm just like too lazy to like heat up the water, which is like the lamest excuse ever. And then I kind of realized there's like a thin window when like you drink it while it's hot, but it can't be piping hot because you'll burn your mouth. And then once it gets cold, it tastes like shit. So you have to like catch it in that window, or you kind of have to like guzzle it down. And so I like kind of lost my lust for it.
Do you have a Christmas list yet?
No, but I have a kettle already. Is that what you're asking?
No, no. You just need a thermos, bro. Like that's how you keep it the temperature.
What do you mean, like a Yeti?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
well, I
anything.
I have plenty of those. I have plenty of like tumblers and
So that
and
that, that should keep it the right temperature for a long enough time to drink it.
but then it doesn't like cool down fast enough if it's in those. It's too
Well,
hot.
yeah, so yeah, so
It's
you
boiling ass water
let it
in
cool in a
there.
normal coffee cup, and then you put in the Yeti, and then it stays that temperature.
Now I'm dirtying multiple different things. Now you got to think of the dishes aspect. But I did get one of those kettles And so I use that to heat up the water, which was nice. Then you
That
can,
is nice. Yeah.
put it on the stove, turn it on. It starts screaming at you. You pour it into the cup, but it's boiling water. So you're sitting there, you're trying to wait. But like for a while, I enjoyed drinking it. It felt healthy. Alex Albaugh, shout out Alex Albaugh. He turned me on to tea. He forced me to drink it at his house once, and it was good. It was good. He mixed like actual like have you seen those like tea catcher things?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
mixing like actual like herbs and stuff and putting it in this little catcher
That
and then
stuff's
like
good.
drop it in the water like that. I just use like the little tea bags, and drop them
Yeah.
in there. Max Pilkerton too. Shout out Max. He loves tea as well. He turned me
Okay.
onto it too.
We'll have to do a tea episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna start drinking tea in the mornings. I feel like it's good for you. It's some natural caffeine as opposed to
Yeah.
like your question. I think is leading to this answer. Essentially, is that I drink a lot of energy drinks. So
Oh,
I work, like evening slash night shifts at the hospital. So I'm like noon to 9 or 8:30 to 12:30 to 8:30. So I drink a lot of Monster energy drinks, which I know are not good for you. It's like drinking piss gasoline, but it tastes really good and I enjoy it and it gets me through the day. So I try not to drink one every day of the week. I don't treat it like a coffee where I like depend on it, but I like legitimately enjoy the taste. So like sometimes if I'm fine energy wise, I just drink one for the taste, which is bad.
that's so interesting because I hate the taste of those.
Really, like the original Monster?
Yeah, I don't. I guess I've only had a couple, so like maybe that's why. But it's too sweet, too fake for me.
It's sweet and fake, which is why I like it. I like sweets for sure. Um, That's my problem is I'm addicted to them. I think it stems back from like when I was a child, I used to do a lot of like downhill skiing. Uh,
Mm,
so I used to watch like a shit ton of X Games. You remember what X Games is?
yeah, yeah. And they're
Yeah,
sponsored by.
the Winter X Games, and like every skier that I used to like adore as a child would just like finish their run after they just did a bunch of flips and turns and 360s and 540s, and they'd come down and they'd crack a Monster Energy and they'd drink it, and I was just like, oh, I want to be like him.
That's funny.
So then, like when we started skiing, like I would buy Monster Energy drinks at the ski hill and I would drink them to try to like feel cool and look cool, and then I got hooked. So I think there's some ingredient in there that gets you hooked. There might be nicotine in there. I don't know what's in there, but it's addictive.
It's sugar.
So maybe yeah, sugar. Yeah, that's what it is. So maybe you just never gave it a shot as a young child to allow the sugar to really get into your bloodstream and really suck you in like it did with me.
Yeah, I never really did. Speaking of those X Games, though, have you ever watched those like the Red Bull, like the ice skaters that like go down those courses?
Yeah, like it's just straight ice and there's like jumps
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah, it's freaking
Yeah, that's
cool.
insane.
Like,
Because then like when you fall, it's gotta hurt so bad.
oh my God, yeah.
Like
But yeah, they'll,
falling on snow hurts. Falling on ice has got to just kill.
but at least they have a Red Bull at the end of that run.
Yeah. See, Red Bull's a weird thing for me because I really enjoy maybe a little bit of hint for later in the episode, but or a little teaser, but I love vodka Red Bulls. Like it's one of my go-to drinks. But the problem is I don't really like straight Red Bull.
Oh,
Like so when I
so
buy
vodka makes it better.
yeah, so when I buy Red Bull at the store, it's strictly for cocktails for vodka Red Bulls because if I drink a straight Red Bull and there's no vodka in it, it like tastes weird to me. But so I need the vodka to like offset the taste kind of. And like I want to when I taste a Red Bull, my brain thinks I'm gonna get a buzz and start to get like drunk. But like since I don't get that from a plain Red Bull, I just don't waste my time on
I'm speechless. Like I've got
it.
nothing for you.
I wonder if I would like a vodka monster. I feel like I wouldn't because it would kind of ruin like the lust of Monster for me, and then I couldn't really drink that anymore. So I'm gonna keep the vodka separate.
Okay, this is a dumb question, but like how close does Monster taste to Mountain Dew?
Similar, and I love
Because
Mountain Dew, so it's pretty similar.
I've seen people drink like a whiskey Mountain Dew.
I've had a whiskey Mountain Dew once, so this is a story way back in the day. But remember when Nate and I went on that road trip?
Yeah,
So my pharmacist, John Ralph, he gave me a bottle of Jim Beam. It was like cherry or something like that, I think. Do they make that? Like red, something red
yeah.
flavored. And then he like gave me this bottle and he's like, don't bother coming back unless this is empty. So we like took that on the road trip and like we were sitting around bonfires every couple nights and we would just be like drinking pulls of that, like shots of it because we had nothing to mix it with. And it just like I hate, me, I'm not a whiskey guy. I'm like starting to try to grow the taste, acquire the taste, but like it was just burning. I was just doing it to like warm up because it was freezing outside. And then I discovered I was like, I have this Mountain Dew. I have this whiskey. Maybe I should just mix them and see if that helps me like put it down faster. So I mixed them together and they're actually pretty good. Like
Good.
the Mountain Dew with the whiskey was pretty decent.
So maybe you need to do whiskey monsters.
Whiskey Monsters. That sounds like the human version of a car accident. Like that just sounds dangerous. Like I'm just
Yeah,
gonna drink that and like need to go shoplifting or something afterwards to just like settle down, It just like would fire me up to do something illegal. So I think I'm
sounds
gonna
about
keep
right.
those separate. You'd be proud of me though. I had a glass of whiskey last night. It was some Crown Apple I had in my cupboard. I was just like, I'm just gonna put this on a little. I got those round balls of ice,
Yeah,
I got one of those
that's
in my
nice.
stocking stuffer a couple years ago. So I got some balls of ice. I threw that in a glass, just poured it over the ice. I've been watching Suits. Have you watched that yet?
I
On
haven't yet.
Netflix.
No. Well,
Uh,
yeah, I'm just starting to watch my first TV show in like a year and a half, so I'm getting back into the game.
Oh my God, you've been that busy with weddings and studying and
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's why, folks. That's why we drop an episode once every 3 months because Craig is the busiest man on planet Earth.
I'm watching Friends for the first time.
Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem like a Friends guy. Are you a big Office guy?
I haven't watched it. I've only finished Game of Thrones, almost Mad Men, and I'm like up to date on Stranger Things. Those are the only TV shows I've like watched in its entirety or like nearly in its entirety.
Wow. Is Sophia a TV girl?
Yeah.
She like watching episodes and
Yeah.
shows and stuff.
She
You
liked The
don't
Office. She didn't want to
you,
rewatch it with me though.
so
So
you don't watch stuff with her? You're like in the
no,
other
we
room
do. We're
studying or
watching Friends
something?
together. Yeah, I don't watch stuff alone. So
Okay. So she watches all the same stuff that you watch, like Game of
yeah.
Thrones and Mad Men or
Or
whatever.
sorry, I guess Game of Thrones was that was a she did not watch that. She
Well,
did
now
not
your story's
participate.
falling apart. Now you're losing credibility
I
as we
watched that with
speak.
T Mac though. And at college there's a ton of people that were hooked, so that was easy.
Yeah, well, Friends is a tough one for me because I don't really find it funny, but I think it's a decent show. Like I've watched a couple episodes on my own and I just like stare at it like this with like no emotions at all. And then I watch it with like my parents when like my parents are laughing and then I laugh with them. It's kind of one of those shows where like it's like The Office. If I watch The Office alone, I think it's the stupidest show ever. But if I watch it with someone else that like likes it and is laughing along, like I'll enjoy it as well. I think it's like one of those shows where you like need to be with the vibes of other people to really immerse yourself in it.
It's a comfort show for sure.
Yeah,
Like it
like is
is.
that a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard because like I do only watch it with Sophia, so like I haven't watched it alone. But I have laughed out loud a few times. So
Yeah.
I'll give it
I've never
that.
I struggle with those shows that have like fake laughter piped in.
Yeah.
I don't think The Office does that, but Friends does, right? They have like the
Yeah.
fake laughter. Yeah. My favorite show that I think you should watch is it sounds like you don't really have any time for any suggestions, but I like
No,
New
I have
Girl.
time now. I have
New
time
Girl is
now.
a great show.
God.
I thought it was dumb just from the idea and the name alone, but I watched like a couple episodes and I got hooked, and that's probably it probably replaced That 70s Show as my favorite like sitcom of all time.
I kind of had the same experience that you had with Friends, where I've watched a few episodes and I just didn't think it was
You didn't
funny,
like
and I
it?
got super uncomfortable. But
All
I'll
right.
give it a try.
Hey, you gave it a shot. That's all I can ask for. Everybody has their preference. Like I used to sit here, the old David used to just see people that like loved Friends and loved The Office, and I would just judge them and be like, see, we have nothing in common. We can't get along because they like shows that I think are dumb. But everybody has their own taste. Everybody likes their certain shows, certain episodes of stuff. So, but we've been watching Suits, Jackie and I, but we have so many different shows that we watch together and we have such limited time together now with our different work schedules that I basically told her I refuse to watch Suits with her. I was like, because she's watching it, I'm watching it, but like our time to watch stuff together is limited and we have so many things on our like to watch list. I was
Yeah.
like, this is the only thing that I can watch by myself when you go to bed at night. So I'm gonna keep watching it by myself and you just keep watching it like so when every time I come home from work, she's like she has it playing and then she has to like turn it off right when I walk in because there's gonna be some stuff that like I haven't seen probably. And then when she
hmm
goes to bed, I'll catch up or watch like my own stuff because we have like so many like dating shows and stuff that we watch like together. So
What's
we
your favorite dating show?
favorite
God,
dating show.
you're such a basic white girl. Like,
Yeah, kinda. Uh, I don't know. I used to like Are You the One? So that's not a
okay.
thing anymore. I think we've talked about it on the show before. It's
hmm
like 20 people come on, they all fill out like a questionnaire and then like nerds like you like connect them matchmaking style with like their questionnaires and everything. And then you have to like go into the house and find who your perfect match is. And you have like 10 chances for everyone to find their perfect match. So I like that show. It's like exciting to see how it all unfolds. And like you can kind of like try to predict things in your head and you're usually wrong. Uh, I'm kind of turned off on The Bachelor these days, Bachelor and Bachelorette. I've lost my lust for that. We used to watch that, but it was like 2 hours a week watching these episodes, trying to keep up. Otherwise, like you get spoilers and stuff, and
Yeah.
lost my lust for that big time. But Bachelor in Paradise is good because it's kind of like those other dating shows where it's like a pool of people trying to date. I like that better than like the idea of one person like trying to date 40 people. Like that's
Yeah.
just it's the stupidest concept of all time. And no one was working out. So then I like really lost like my
Yeah.
lust for it when no one was getting together.
Bachelor, I mean, I don't really watch much of them, but like Bachelor in Paradise is by far the best of the Bachelor shows.
But that's not as it's getting to be not as fun to watch because I don't know anyone on it. Like I
Because
used
you have to
to
watch
when we used to
Bachelor.
watch
Yeah.
like Bachelor and Bachelorette, then I would know like everybody on the Paradise season. But like now since they're like I don't watch those, I'm like, who the hell is Jeff?
Hmm.
And like Jeff's like a polarizing character from like the
Hmm.
history. But I also like we just finished Ultimatum season 2. Have you heard of that?
No.
So it's like if you and Sophia say you refuse to get married, but Sophia was really wanting you to get married, she gives you an ultimatum like
Yeah,
either you propose or we're done.
I
And so
actually
the
have heard about it. I
so,
haven't watched
so
it
they all
though.
go into a house and then they all switch partners. So
Hmm.
you would do a trial marriage with Jackie and I would do a trial marriage with Sophia. You don't necessarily swap like couples, you like intermingle through the house, but then you do that for like 3 weeks and then you say like, oh, and then you do 3 weeks back with your original person and then you decide if you want to like propose or if you're gonna break up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
That's a whiskey monster right there.
I was just yeah, that's a whiskey monster in a form of a television show. But like I think that's Jackie's favorite. She enjoys it. But I get to the point where I'm just like, if any of these people are coming onto the show, they should not be getting married.
No, it's
If you're willing to do a trial marriage of 3 weeks with a random person that you just met, you should not be marrying your significant other.
5 years down the road, everyone is divorced or not married. Like,
Yeah, I know. Well, spoiler alert to the second season, like everyone just goes back to their original partner and gets engaged, basically.
hmm.
It's like, what are you doing? And you see like their fights and their arguments and stuff throughout the season too, and you're just like, holy shit, man, this is not healthy. Like, I guess it does kind of make you feel better about your current relationship.
I
Not
can't.
that I felt, not that I felt bad in the first place, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Are you a Love Island fan?
Yeah, we got into Love Island. We watch UK
You
Love Island
watch them
UK.
all, dang.
Yeah, so we haven't. The problem with Love Island is, so we just started that like a year and a half ago. There's like we started with like Love Island UK season 5. We just Googled like best season of Love Island. So we watched the best one first, which is really dumb. Which if I could go back, I would rewind and not do that. But it was really good, so we got hooked. So then we started with like one, I think, and we just like watched one. I think so 5, 1, and 2. But there's
Okay.
like 3, 4, 6, 7 still left.
Okay.
And then there's like Love Island Australia, Brazil, US, like tons of them. Did you watch? Have you watched that at all?
No, no, no.
Oh,
Maybe now that I've got more free time, but I think we have a lot of other shows on our list. So
no. So the problem with Love Island is there's like 50 episodes a season,
yeah,
and they're like an hour apiece.
yeah. There's I'm out.
There's too much. But then there's Love Is Blind as well. So we
Yeah.
watched Love Is Blind. We're working on trying to get to the new season of that one. That's also a really wild concept. Do you think you could ever do that?
This is
Do you
where like
think
it's like blind dating, right?
is love really blind, Craig?
I mean, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But some of those couples work out, which is good.
Yeah.
I mean, like ideally, theoretically, the concept of like meeting someone without seeing them is a good idea because you're
Yeah.
getting to know their personality first. But the
Yeah.
problem, where the problem comes in, I think it would work. It would have a much higher success rate if they extended the timeline.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say with all these shows, it's like it's not
Yeah,
like how it's like actually like to be with someone.
no, like
It's like
they force them to get married within like 2 months.
yeah.
So then it's just like all these couples are like they get cold feet and they're like, I can't do it. I'm not getting married. And like and you're like, no shit, dude. You just met this person like a month ago. Like I'm 3.5 years in at this point, and I'm still got cold feet.
I hope Jackie's mom doesn't listen to this.
They don't. She knows. Um, So speaking of that, you just had a big life event. Care to share with the folks of the podcast?
Yeah, I got married a couple weeks ago. It was a good time. David and Jackie were in attendance, which was pretty sweet. So, yeah, I had a pretty special day. I had a lot of fun, and I think it went pretty smoothly. At least I always hear like horror stories about like things that go wrong, and there wasn't any bad things like that. So,
Nothing bad went on behind the scenes.
yeah,
That's good because, like, from my perspective, I think it went really well as well. Yeah. One, I do have one bone to pick with you though.
okay, go for it.
So when I was looking at your like projector thing of where we were seated,
Hmm.
maybe you don't know this, and maybe this led me to believe, and I hope I'm right, that you didn't have anything to do with the creation of this slideshow, or the maybe you had it had something to do with the assignment of the seating chart, but maybe I'm hoping you didn't have anything to do with the putting the actual names on the slide, because my name was misspelled
How is your
as
name
as
misspelled?
yeah, it's about the easiest thing you can do, but it's David Woods. I couldn't find my name for a while because I was like, there's no David Wood up there. And then I was like, wait, that says Woods. And I was like, damn, Craig, we have a
Oh.
podcast together, 25 episodes deep, and you don't know my last name.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
It's
fuck
funny
you.
because we went through and double checked every name,
It broke my heart.
and we clearly missed like the easiest one.
Yeah, Wood. It's not hard, man. 4 letters, Wood.
Because was actually like really hard. It was like we had a spreadsheet when we were like sending out invites, and like there was like some that we had incorrectly, but then when we like went to do it, like send the actual invites out, we double checked everything, so we had a different like list on the not website. And then like but there was discrepancies between the two, so like every time we had to like send out something or like do these like seating chart things, we're like trying to reconcile between the two. So I'm sorry that we messed up your name. We didn't even think to double check yours because it's so basic.
Thank you for apologizing. That's
Or
all I
I'm
really wanted.
like Nevin, his last name's impossible to spell, so like his name we looked at 5 times.
Yeah, that
you
would
know
make me
like
nervous. How do you even find proof besides like social media?
like Facebook, yeah, or like we text our friends, but like there was some
Do
like
you text them and say, how do you spell your last name?
no, like text my mom, like if it's like for one of like
Oh,
her
yeah, yeah,
friends,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
being like, how do you, but like some of them was weird where like there was like some like aunts and uncles who like we didn't know if it was like like their last name was hyphenated or like if it wasn't hyphenated. So like there was some confusion there and very
Yeah,
minor things, but we
that
we
that's
definitely messed up a few
That's kind of
names.
something that I never really thought about. Like that is pretty stressful because like a lot of people these days, like they do like their middle name as their last name on Facebook.
Hmm.
So like
Right. It might not
so
be
then you're kind of
accurate.
like, well, shit, I don't know how to spell their last name, and they have Bill as their last name on Facebook. So what am I supposed to do with that?
No, literally one of the reasons why we have been able to film and I'm not able to watch TV is because I spent 4 hours in the month of September double checking how to spell names, and I
Yeah,
still missed one, so I'm
still
sorry.
botched mine. Yeah,
The other thing that sucked was like people move. So like when you spot the when you send out
oof.
like invites, like those addresses change
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
quite
we
a
just
bit.
moved, so like that's pretty tough too. Like how often do you text people and say, "Hey, are you still at this address?" or whatever? Like that's pretty
Right.
stressful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see how that could cause some stress. Like nobody's really just like settled in a house. I mean, obviously people are. I say nobody, that was really dumb. You know what I meant? Like a
Yeah.
lot of people, probably half the people, because you're like their college friends and things are still shuffling around.
Yeah. But the other thing that's like frustrating too is like sometimes I'll text them like, "Hey, what's your address?" And like they'll just text me their address, but they don't include like their apartment number because like they don't think to do that because they're like not thinking about getting mail. And then so like when we sent out like invites, like 5 got returned because there wasn't like an
They didn't have
apartment number.
apartments.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't someone give you their apartment number?
I
I get
don't
like
know. I don't know. I'm not trying to like name names of who did this, but there was like multiple people who did tell us that.
that's like I don't understand the thought process. Like, what did they think? Like, you were asked, they knew you're getting married, and then you texted them, "Hey, what's your address?" You kind of need to connect the dots. Like, what are you thinking that
Yeah.
you're just trying to like look them up on Apple Maps to see what kind of building complex they live in? Like,
Zillow
that's
their
what,
house.
yeah, that's what I'm confused about. But
Yeah.
fair enough, fair enough. Let's see, what else did I have to comment on about your wedding? I got to talk to your grandparents for a little bit, so that was nice. They're very sweet
They're very
people.
sweet.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
nice people. Um, very welcoming. Like Jackie and I were kind of just chilling, like on our own, like at the cocktail hour, and they came over and just like sparked a conversation. So that was nice. Um,
They're the best.
Yeah, very nice. I got to shake your parents' hand, so that was good. Your dad's like one of the biggest human beings I've ever seen in my life.
He's large.
And the fact that he just grabbed the mic for his speech and just started weeping instantly, it was pretty funny. Like he was just a gentle giant. The guy just like couldn't spit out a word to save his life, and he was just like crying the whole time. And then he was just at the end, he was like, "Skull" for the Vikings, you know. And then everybody just went wild. So that was
Yeah.
funny.
So the skull thing's because his dad came from Denmark, and so they say skull instead of cheers. But then it's
Oh,
funny because it turned into like a skull chant.
oh, I
Like,
thought it was like a Vikings thing.
no, it's yeah, it's
Oh,
so
that's
like
fun.
at like family like like Christmas dinners or whenever like we like skull to each other.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Hmm.
Well, that's a little fun fact. But here's what I will say as well is I realized at the wedding and at the cocktail hour and stuff that I had wished that we had a different name for our podcast.
Okay.
So I had a lot of people come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're the Peaked in College guy. You're the Peaked in College guy." And I'm like, "Well, that's not a very good thing to be known as." Like, you know, like I wish like maybe people said like, "Oh, you're the podcast guy," but I was like, "Damn, this name kind of sucks." Like I always thought it was like a funny little name, like it was a good, it kind of rolls off the tongue. You know, it's like obviously we didn't peak in college. We have other good things going on in our life, but it's like a funny like you and I met in college. We did a lot of fun things together in college, and then everyone just came up to me at the wedding and was like, "You're the Peaked in College guy." Like I met Hunter, your buddy Hunter, that
Yep. Yep.
you met in Louisville, and that's what he said to me first. And super nice guy, but the whole time we were talking, I was just like, "Fuck, we need to change our podcast name." I think
Like,
like this is
people know him on the
embarrassing.
downturn.
Yeah,
Did you happen to meet Joe Schlick? He's another Louisville
I don't
buddy.
think I met Joe Schlick.
Okay.
No, I didn't get a
That
chance.
that's my fault for not introducing you to, but he's a long time listener. So someday our paths will have to cross
Yeah, our paths will
between you
cross
two.
eventually, Joe. Don't you forget that. If it has to
Um,
be in 80 years at Craig's funeral, so be it. But I'll meet you someday, Joe Schlick.
um, what was I going to say? Oh, so are we going to change our name?
By the way, I'm for sure gonna die before you, but
Well, with all
I don't
these
know.
Red Bulls and monsters,
I
maybe.
thought about that, but dude, I think we're in too deep at this point.
We could do like kind of like what the Washington Commanders did, and we could just make it like the Craig and David like podcast show as an interim name.
Well, then we're talking three names. That's gonna be tough. But yeah, you're right. If the Redskins could do it, if the Redskins could change from Redskins to football team to Commanders, I think that the Peakton College boys could do it.
But I mean, the Commanders are doing pretty rough right now, so maybe we don't want to follow them.
Yeah, they got embarrassed by the Chicago Bears, which is a rare thing. No teams get
Yeah,
embarrassed by the Bears.
yeah. Well, the Vikings this week, but we'll see.
Big matchup. Big
Yeah,
matchup with Vikings and Bears this week. We'll have to. You want to put a little wager on it?
yeah. Yeah. What do you want to do?
Uh,
I got one.
all right. What do you got?
Okay, so next time we do a morning show, if the Bears win, I'll drink a monster, and if the Vikings win, you have to drink a coffee.
I've never had coffee in my whole life. I don't know if I could stomach it. And then I would waste one of Jackie's pods, and then she'd be pissed.
Okay, you have to drink then a cup of cold tea.
Oof. All right, we'll think about that. I'll do
Okay,
either a cup of coffee for you or a cup of cold tea. We'll
okay.
figure something out that I have to suffer with. That would be good. I don't want to force you to drink a monster at 9 in the morning though. That's evil work. Even I don't drink them that early. I crack mine at like 3 p.m. usually.
I'll do it. I'm that confident in the Vikings.
And so yeah, that's a problem too with my energy drink habits is I get to work at like 12:30 and then I crack my first energy drink. I say first, I usually just drink one, but I crack it at like 4 p.m. So then I like to slow sip my
Yeah,
energy drinks. Like when I take road trips and stuff, I don't guzzle it. I drink it slow so that like the the energy lasts me through. It carries out. So I
yeah,
do that, and then like next thing you know, I'm finishing it at like 8 p.m. and I get home and I can't sleep. Like I usually go to sleep at like 2 a.m. and that's probably why.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, it all adds
That
up,
all
doesn't it?
checks out.
Yeah.
Makes sense why you're
Um,
tired at 9 a.m.
yeah, yeah. What else about your wedding? I like the photo booth. The photo booth's always a good idea. It's always fun to have a little like souvenir from
Yeah,
I feel like I need to like scrapbook all the
you and
weddings that
Jackie
we've
got
been.
some good ones. I have digital copies of that, by the way. I can
What?
send you those. Yeah, we get a copy of all those.
Oh, that's
There's
embarrassing.
dude, this is wild. Like
See some
80% of
get on
them are
photo
just
booth.
like people macking in the
Yeah.
booth.
Yeah, because like you have to take four pictures. So like you got to think of like I don't have four different poses, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm,
But no,
yeah.
you two had some of the better ones.
I like the idea of your like telephone audio recording thing. Have you listened to any of those yet?
We get them back in a couple weeks.
Oh, okay. So they get them and they kind of like edit them and like take out all the empty space and stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I've never seen anyone do that before. So I was wondering how well that would work because it's like just what, 5 hours of just recording?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how much audio there is. It was kind of
Yeah.
one of those things that like I thought would just be fun to see, like also like hear people get progressively drunker. It
Yeah.
was like honestly,
Yeah.
um, I thought that would be pretty fun, and then just yeah, something different. And you know, there's that venue has the photo booth, and that was cool. Um, but like I was like, it was a bummer because like it's pretty small, right? Like you can't, you know, sometimes they have like they'll have like a background and there's like you can fit in 8 people and that's really fun. So we wanted something else to like kind of complement the smaller photo booth. So we can pay, you know, way too much money, get it all on like a vinyl, which would be fun. But we may just go with the digital audio.
Yeah,
So
that's probably all you need. Do you even have
yeah,
like a record player?
we
You
do.
seem
Yeah,
like a guy that would have a record player.
we
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
okay.
So we'll see. But
Yeah. Is it on top of your whiskey barrel? Do you still have that?
the whiskey barrel's in storage in our basement.
Sophia didn't
Um,
let you have it out?
we just don't really have a good spot for it, and I kind of agree with her. So but next place that we live, it's going there. So
Huh.
that's a signed contract.
Do you guys have a plan for how long you're going to be at this current place?
I think I mean, we bought it, so you know, it's like you're a little bit more, you know, tied down. But I think at the time it was kind of like 5 years and kind of reevaluate, like, do we want to move out of Chicago or not? But like 5 years was kind of like, if we're gonna buy, like, it doesn't make sense to do this if we're moving sooner than that.
Yeah.
So
I didn't realize something that your grandparents told me was you have the same wedding anniversary as your sister.
yeah,
So that was
yeah.
kind of funny. Like, do you think she's pissed about that or do you think she's happy about it?
I think probably I don't know. She's pretty chill. But like when we so she got married the previous year,
Yeah, that's what your grandparents said. Like
and
they
so
were
like we
celebrating their 1 year anniversary on your wedding day.
yeah, because theirs was on a Friday and ours was, you know, was on a Saturday because normally the dates wouldn't you know, the days wouldn't
Yeah.
align. But I mean, we kind of said we're like, you know, we really want this venue. This is the only Saturday available in the fall, and we wanted a fall wedding in Chicago because the weather was perfect, and there was
Yeah,
an
weather
outdoor
was
space,
amazing.
which, you know, that was something that's hard to do in Chicago. So we're like, well, if we have an outdoor space, we really want to use it. So we like went to them and we're like, you know, hey, like we really want this. Would you be cool with it? And they were super cool with it. Now behind their backs, they're probably pissed, but
No, I told your grandparents, I was like, super easy for you guys that you get to send cards on the same day. You only have to take up one spot on your calendar every year, just that one square.
yeah,
Yeah, that's nice. You made it easy on your parents and your grandparents for sure.
yeah, yeah. So we're already looking ahead to like when's the next September 30th for my brother's wedding.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's in
Oh,
like 2027.
I got to meet your brother as well. I shook his hand. He's another large human being. He told me he's a listener of the podcast, so thanks,
Yep.
Brian. Shout out to him. He's a cool dude. So,
Yeah.
and he just said he moved to Chicago. So he said
Yeah.
he understands our gripes about moving now that he has officially moved down there.
Yep. He officially understands the
Yeah,
pain.
good. Everybody has to experience it as much as it sucks.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing, this is kind of like more generic about weddings just in general, but like with your wedding specifically, I noticed it. So the tricky thing about like open bars is like the tipping aspect, right?
Yeah.
So like I usually try to carry like ones and fives before I go to weddings, but the problem with this one was I only had like two fives and all 20s. So like would put a five in there, get a drink, maybe get another drink, do nothing, and then the next drink put another five, and then I was out. So then like waited another drink, and then after like the fifth drink or whatever, like I could tell the bartender was like, when you don't put a tip in the jar, or if you put something like a small bill, you can tell the bartenders like kind of get pissed, and you could see it on their face. And then the next time I got a drink, I put a 20 in there, and then she was just like her mood flipped like a switch.
That's
She's
hilarious.
like the nicest person I've ever met at that point, and she was like, "I know what you want." Like right after I walked up, I just put the 20 in there, and I started talking. She was like, "I know what you want," and like she like made me the drink that I've been getting the last like 2 or 3 times up there. So that was funny. But those people deserve tips, so tip them well.
Yeah. It's always tough because I rarely have cash, which I need to start doing more of. But I mean, we did tip them too. So, you know,
Yeah.
anything that you gave was on top.
Yeah, that's true. Like you guys pay them, you tip them a decent amount.
Yeah.
They also had a pretty smart thing that your bartenders had is they had like Venmo and like
Oh,
PayPal or Cash App things, like little like barcodes or usernames you could like scan. So like Nate, I went up to Nate and he was like, "Oh, I didn't bring any cash." I was like, "Well, look, dude, they have a Venmo thing. You can Venmo me." And he was just like trying to stumble out some excuse, his cheap ass. But
yeah. That's
um,
funny. I've got one quick Venmo story for you.
yeah, go.
One time we were in Louisville, stumbling home, from a night out, and um, there was an unhoused person or a homeless person, and they were asking for money, and my friend Adam Lathan was like, "I don't have any money, but do you have Venmo?" And then realized what he had just asked, and like,
If a homeless man has a Venmo account,
yeah,
what did you call him? An unhoused person?
unhoused person, yeah, that's
That
like
was
the
weird. What is that? Like
yeah
the politically correct term?
yeah, that's like the new term, yeah.
What the fuck,
I
man?
included both, so I could be politically correct, and then
Yeah, I'm not
also
saying.
if people aren't aware.
Yeah, no disrespect to homeless people, but I'm not calling you unhoused. I feel like that's more disrespectful.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's tough. Yeah, usually homeless people do not have Venmos, so try to give them some cash if you can.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good karma, good juju, and it helps them out. So always carry cash. Cash is king. You never know when you have times like that.
David with the bright bulb of the day, always offering insights and helping people out for that good
Yeah,
karma.
yeah. Cash is king. Nothing better than just helping somebody out, even if it's small, and just seeing their face bright up. But the problem with things like that is like I'm sure you were walking and there was this unhoused person sitting on the street. But like what bothers me is when you drive and then there's people like standing at the corners or whatever. Because I've seen and read too many stories. I haven't read. I've seen too many stories about like people that pretend to be unhoused and are on the corner, like asking for money, and then they like go back home to their nice ass house and they're like, yeah, I made a couple $100 today just on my day off, just sitting at the corner. So it's like that's the thing I struggle with. Is like I want to help the people that actually need help, but then like the people that don't need help are ruining it for everybody else.
Yeah.
Don't be
Life,
that guy.
yeah. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that scumbag. If you're really homeless, be homeless. Don't pretend to be homeless. Lessons of the day on Peaked in College.
I've got nothing to add, David.
Nothing to add? All right, fair enough. So since it's kind of wedding season, I was trying to think of a top three today topic. I was thinking just like top three cocktails that you order at like your go-to cocktails at a wedding. So you go up to the bar, you need to get a cocktail, and you order a cocktail at the bar. What are your top three go-to drinks?
I mean, it's drinks. It doesn't have to be cocktails.
Drinks, yeah, drinks.
Okay.
Sorry. Doesn't have to be cocktails. So
So
it could
yeah,
be
so my first thing with weddings is I try and pace myself. And I did a pretty good job of this at my wedding actually. And
yeah,
so
you
my
didn't get
go-to,
like too smashed, so that was good.
yeah. My go-to is just like a light beer because I can I'm not going to get too drunk off of drinking light beer. Like I'll get full before. So I always just start with light beer.
So that's your number one choice.
That's my number one
Your
because
first choice, your number one, your starter.
it's honestly really the only thing I drink at weddings nowadays, but I've got some other answers prepared.
I was gonna say, have you ever heard of the saying "beer before liquor, never sicker"?
I don't believe that.
That happens to me all the time.
Really?
Basically, like neither one works for me. Like if I mix anything, I feel like I get sick.
Yeah.
I started with a beer at your wedding. I started with a Stella, and then went to liquor after that. Because like when like you're kind of, I had a huge lunch with Max and Carmina, his girlfriend,
Hmm.
and when you have like when you're like kind of full, you can't really drink beer. Like I drank the
Yeah.
first beer, and I was just like, oh, and I got to eat this like Craig's dinner in like an hour or two. Like I can't be drinking beers.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
that's fair. But yeah, it's kind of my defense mechanism to like having a good night.
Yeah, it's a good way to pace yourself. Like
Yeah.
when I do beers, like I did straight beers at the last wedding I went to last weekend, and it's a
Hmm.
great way to like just get a buzz. The problem is it takes longer to get the buzz, but once you get the buzz, you can just slowly maintain it instead of just like you're sipping on liquor and then you're blacked out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Speaking of blacking out, my number one choice, I'm gonna go with vodka Red Bulls. We talked about it earlier, but if there's a good way to just complete opposite of your theory is this: if you need to just ramp up quick, you go with a vodka Red Bull, maybe two or three. Next thing you know, like you're having a great time. You're feeling it. You're vibing. You're a couple vodka Red Bulls deep. It's minimal like liquid, so you're not like just like stuffing your stomach with too much liquid. So that's my go-to number one choice.
Well, I apologize because I don't think we had Red Bull at our
No,
at
that's a
our
good thing,
August
Craig.
party.
It's a good thing.
Okay.
Because every time I do vodka Red Bulls, it ends poorly for me and usually ends poorly for Jackie as well. So
Uh, I think my number two would probably be a Manhattan. But I've got to be careful with these because it is. I mean, it's half whiskey and then like half vermouth. Um, so, but that is like my favorite cocktail in general. So that's why it's my number two.
Did I ever tell you about the story with my grandma in Manhattan's?
No.
So my grandma really likes drinking brandy Manhattans.
Yep.
So when I lived with her for 5 weeks in pharmacy school, she would have like a brandy Manhattan like after dinner, as like an after dinner cocktail, and we'd watch like Wheel of Fortune or something together. And so I made her like I had her make me one every couple nights, because I'm not a big whiskey guy, you know that. So I tried this like brandy Manhattan, and it was actually pretty good. Like it has like we use like sweet vermouth in mine, and it like
Mhm.
tastes pretty good. I kind of liked it as like a good little cocktail. But one time I asked for it before dinner, I think, and I forget if it's before or after dinner, one of the two, and she told me she would forbid it because it's only an after dinner cocktail or vice versa. I forget which one it was, but like I asked, so say it's an after dinner cocktail according to my grandma. I asked for it before dinner and she like refused. She like put her foot down. She's like, no, it's only an after dinner cocktail. You cannot
That's
drink it
funny.
before dinner.
I
So
do feel like it would be an after dinner because it's like sweet, like
yeah, I think it was
like it's
after.
not an
Yeah.
aperitif or whatever the or
Yeah. I think it was after, but it was really funny. Like she refused to let me drink one
I love
beforehand.
that.
And then
Grandparents are
like
the best.
before the very first one, and I think I was like 22 years old, she was like, no, I must have been even older than that. But anyway, she was like, I am not making you an alcoholic drink. She was like, I'm not making you a cocktail. She like called my parents. I was like, Nana, I'm like 23 years old. I can drink alcohol. And she called my parents and like confirmed with my mom that she could make me a cocktail. And so my mom just like answered and laughed and was like, yeah, he can drink and that's fine. And then she was like, okay. And she like mixed me up a little brandy Manhattan.
That's amazing. That's pretty
Yeah.
fun.
I love grandparents' innocence sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um, that's a good choice. That's a good choice. It's kind of a wild choice for a wedding. That's more of like you get it and then you go sit down at dinner to drink that, like sip on it. You wouldn't like get a Manhattan and go dance, right? Or would you?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. All right, my number two, I'm gonna go just a vodka cran. I love a good vodka cran. You did have those. I was drinking a lot of those at your wedding. Sometimes you have a little bit too much of them, and it's like it starts to like hurt your stomach having too much cranberry juice. But it's a great taste. It's kind of like sweet with a little bit of bitterness in there. You got the vodka aspect to get you rolling, and then you prevent UTIs.
So why like would you go dance with a vodka cran?
Yeah, I would dance with a vodka
So
cran.
why would you dance with that but not a Manhattan?
Manhattan just seems more of like a casual like sit down and sip.
Oh,
Or like a
okay.
vodka cran, I'm putting that thing down quick.
Well, maybe this is why I just stick with light beer
Yeah.
at weddings.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But the one problem with vodka cran is the red aspect. So I think I
Yeah,
spilled like some
that's
vodka cran on my white shirt and on my suit, and it just creates a huge problem in that aspect. But
yeah,
overall, great wedding drink. Easy, two ingredients, quick. The bartenders like it, so
that's a good call. I think with my last one, and I just did an audible. I was gonna do an old fashioned, but I decided not to. I'm gonna go with a Moscow Mule.
mm,
Because I do think that that is probably um, I do like ginger beer a lot. I'm not a huge vodka guy, but whatever. But that is probably a better drink for like a dance floor or like
yeah. You
it's
got like
you know
the like spritzy aspect of it, which kind
yeah
of makes you feel like you need to
it's
like be vibing, but it's also something you could sit down with at dinner with and
not as strong as like a Manhattan would be. So like you get the pacing aspect there too.
yeah, yeah. I have a real problem with like sipping on drinks. Like when I get a drink in my hand, I just want to pound it.
Yeah, no,
Not like chugging in one gulp, but I want to like
yeah.
big sip, big sip, big sip, then it's gone.
I at weddings I tend to drink like at beer pace, regardless of whether I'm drinking beer or a cocktail.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Like you drink everything
Yeah,
at beer pace. So if you're
yeah,
drinking cocktails and vodka Red Bulls, like you're next
yeah,
thing you know, you're blacked out.
yeah. I
Yeah, I
will.
think Jackie had a few of the Moscow mules. She said they were really good there.
Cool.
Um, My problem with Moscow mules, I'm a big Moscow mule guy as well, but I'm kind of a Moscow mule snob. So I make some Moscow mules here that are like flavored. I have this like flavored vodka that's really good that we like. I have this like specific ginger beer that we like that's like not super gingery. I put a little lime juice in there, and then I also, if I have it, I'll do like a little bit of spritz of like Seven Up or Sprite, and it just makes it less of the gingery taste and more of just like the vodka and the citrusy taste kind of.
What's the ginger beer you like?
It's a vodka brand called Western Sun.
Okay.
So this brand Western Sun has like all this different types of vodkas, and then they also have like their own ginger beer.
And
So,
what's the flavored vodka that you drink?
well, we have like 1.75s of like blueberry, raspberry, prickly pear is like Jackie's go-to is this prickly pear. And then I have like a couple 750s of like lemon, peach,
So like fruit flavorings that you put.
original. Yeah,
Okay.
we have like original as well for like other drinks, but like usually I'll do like a flavored Moscow Mule.
Have you had a Kentucky Mule?
No, I don't know what that is. Is that
It's
brandy instead of vodka?
or
Or I mean, not
whiskey,
bourbon.
bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might like that actually. That might be a good drink to get you to like whiskey more.
Well, I do have like come holiday season or come fall time, I'll do I think we might have talked about this like a long time ago on this podcast, but I'll do like a Crown Apple Mule.
Yeah.
So it's like Crown Apple instead of vodka, and then I do like ginger beer and then cranberry juice. And
Yep.
that's a very,
That is
very good,
good. That is
very
good.
good cocktail. Yeah. I love that drink. So I just bought some cranberry juice because I have like a bunch of Crown Apples. So I'm gonna start making those soon. It is the season.
Yep. We're getting
Uh,
close.
yeah, we are. All right, my last choice. I'll go something darker, just in case I need to go with some dark liquor instead of some light liquor. I'll do a rum and coke, classic Captain and Coke. Go up there, get a little rum and coke. Brings me back. It kind of like rewinds my brain to college because I drank a lot of rum and coke in college, and it's just like a sweet drink. You know, it's easy to drink, doesn't burn, goes down
Yeah.
quick. Gets you the coke aspects. You get a little bit of like energy from it as well. So I like it. That's my go-to.
Okay, that's good. Neither of us had wine. Well, I feel like
No.
wine's a pretty popular wedding drink. Um,
Yeah, I'm not a wine guy in general, and then especially like it seems like dancing with like slugging around wine. It's not like a drink you can pound, and I like to pound drinks, so I don't know.
I
But you're
like it
right.
at dinner. I like it at dinner, but once like after dinner, it would be hard for me to because I would just spill. And I'm
Yeah,
more of a red guy, so that would be a disaster.
yeah, that would be a disaster, big
Spill
time.
on the bread.
Yeah, I felt like a loser when like you had sommeliers walk around at the wedding like pouring out wine at dinner, you know, and I had to give them I had to shake them off, and I felt like kind of like a loser when everyone else was drinking wine, you know, except for me.
Yeah, we hired a bunch of sommeliers.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, dude. Wine pourers? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sommeliers makes me sound more sophisticated.
Well, I apologize that two of your three drinks weren't at the wedding, but hopefully you're able to get.
Oh no, my number four, which I was gonna do as my number three or two. So these are like kind of a
Okay.
shuffling list. Vodka Red Bull is a clear in a way number one, but that's okay. Like I said, I don't need vodka Red Bulls at weddings because it's dangerous when I do them. I drank like three or four at John Opheim's wedding, and lights turned out pretty quick for me. So I try to avoid them now, but they are a good way to start the day if you can be responsible.
Yeah.
But like a vodka Sprite, I drink a lot of vodka
Mm,
Sprites at your wedding.
okay.
It's great because it's clear. If you spill it, which like when you're
That is
dancing
good.
around, it's gonna spill. Like it doesn't like screw up your suit or your clothes. So it's a good one.
You've got a good list. It's not as classy as mine, but it's a good list.
It's not classy at all. It's really not classy. But like like at your wedding, you know, at most weddings they have like these plastic cups and stuff, or like these Dixie type cups, which like every wedding does. The last wedding I went to, they had solo cups. You can't drink like a Manhattan out of a solo cup, right? Or like a Dixie cup. Like it just
That's
feels
fair.
wrong.
It would feel weird. It would.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
feels wrong. But
that's
I
fair.
hear you. Like you just had like you picked like good cocktails that you enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I wouldn't make a vodka Sprite and watch TV, you know, or like a vodka Red Bull
That's
and watch
fair. That's
TV.
fair. I guess I just will never have a vodka Sprite, so
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Because like a lot of people order vodka sodas. You know, like if at a
hmm
wedding or like if you go to like a bar, people's go-to is like vodka soda. Well, I discovered that vodka soda is not like I always thought a vodka soda was like a vodka and like a Sprite, but it's like club soda, right?
hmm
So like yeah, it tastes like shit. So I will never be again. I'm not a vodka soda or a vodka water guy that a lot of people have started to trend onto.
vodka water is just a dumb idea. Like, what are you doing?
Well, you're not a vodka guy in the first place, but yeah, it's a really dumb idea, I think.
I mean, there's things I prefer, but I'm not like against vodka. I just think that there's things that taste better.
Yeah.
Like,
You would laugh if you saw the very first time that I discovered there's a difference between like a rum and coke and a Jack and Coke. Uh, so when I always thought it was like the same thing because it was like a dark drink. I didn't even really know the difference between like rum and whiskey at this point. I was like a freshman in college. I never drank in high school really, and I like always thought like Jack and Coke was a cool thing to order. Like a Jack and Coke, can I get a Jack and Coke? Like it makes you sound kind of manly. So
yeah.
I like went up. I had a couple rum and cokes at this point. I went up. I was like, hey, can I get a Jack and Coke? And I like took my first sip, and I was like gagging. I was like, oh my god, this tastes like shit. I was like, I think they screwed up my drink. It's like, what did you order? I was like, oh, Jack and Coke. And they're like, well, that's whiskey and not rum. And I was like, oh. So I've never ordered a Jack and Coke since.
That's funny.
I think it was at
Now you
Peggy's.
might like it though.
Shout out Peggy's.
Shout out Peggy's.
All right. Why don't we say we wrap this thing up? We've had a good run at it. Thank you for taking time this sweet Friday. Hey, happy
Yeah.
Friday.
Hey, yeah,
Friday
I was
morning.
feeling bad that it's 10, not even 10:30, and we're just chatting about booze. But it's Friday, so
Yeah, it's
we're
Friday.
almost there.
Yeah, I just got to go to work for 8 hours and I'll be home and we can crack them. So, I'll be cheersing you from 8 hours away, buddy.
Skull.
All right, dude. Skull, bear down. Good luck this weekend. Hope you lose to the Bears. But hey, big game for the Ducks, by the way. I forgot to talk about it. They're going to Washington. It's a top 10 matchup. They have college game day going there. So tune in. Hopefully the Ducks can seal the deal and beat Washington on the road.
Go Drake Bulldogs too.
Go Bulldogs. Oh yeah, speaking of that too, I know we're wrapping this thing up, but did you see they built that new stadium
That
right
is
next to
cool.
Drake Stadium? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like up and I think it's running and I think they're like opening it up for a game tonight.
Okay, sweet.
So check that out. Now Drake Soccer can finally play on campus. Shout out Drake Soccer. I felt so bad for them that they had to drive like 20-minute bus ride away to play home games.
It was just not ideal for fans, like,
No, not ideal.
or for them, obviously, but
And
like,
they were good. I remember like I had to work like I would never go to a Drake Soccer game. You couldn't put a gun to my head and tell me to go to a Drake Soccer game, but I worked for event staff, so I had to like work Drake Soccer games, and they were really fun to
they're
watch.
really
Like
good. Yeah.
I had to do scoreboard and stuff, and I was like, I would dread it, but I would go and I'd be like, oh, they're actually pretty good. Like this is fun to watch.
Well, do you see the women's team was like top number one on ESPN for like a week?
Yeah, the number one
Like,
play on the top
yeah,
10. Yeah, they
yeah,
did like the flip throw and it was a
yeah.
goal from yeah, that was crazy.
Which I don't know if you knew this, but like someone has to touch the ball. Like you can't just throw it in the net.
I didn't
So the
think
fact
so.
that the
I would just
goalie
launch it
touched
in the
it,
net every time. I'd be sick at that. That would be the one thing I'd be good
no,
at.
but someone has to touch it. So it wouldn't have counted, but the goalie touched it.
Oh no.
It's like if nobody had just touched it, it wouldn't have been a goal.
So I do have a soccer question for you. Maybe you know this. Why do the goalies' gloves, why are they like
So
buttery
big.
instead of like no, I get why
Oh,
they're big, but why aren't they sticky like wide receiver gloves?
I think they're supposed. I don't know. I guess I thought they were supposed to be sticky.
No, I think they're like super slick. I think maybe it's because like you can like deflect things easier and like hit them out of
Okay,
bounds versus like maybe if you like are catching it, it like would and you don't catch it cleanly, it would like trickle off into the goal maybe versus like
yeah,
a slick thing would like slide right off. But maybe
interesting.
I've just used shitty goalie gloves and maybe they are supposed to be sticky.
I don't know. I guess I haven't used goalie gloves in a while.
Yeah, it's probably been 15 years for me too, but maybe I should Google that and I'll come back and report for next episode.
You've got some homework now.
Yeah, I got some homework. All right. Thanks for making time, Craig. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. If you listened, I'm not known as just a Peakton College guy. I'm not known as David Woods. So next time you see me, say what's up, David, instead. But thank you anyways. Say hi to Sophia. She did a killer worm at the wedding. That was unbelievable. I couldn't pick up my jaw off the ground any faster. But thanks again for listening. This was episode 26. It's a successful episode until I
Peace
just
out.
stopped there. See ya.